trying to like pigeonhole us as either like a carcass comedy band or like didn't understand why we were like, they thought we were a thrash band that was way too brutal, or they thought we were a death metal band that was way too thrashy or something. And now it seems like people kind of get the niche that we have, which is like, you know, old school death metal, thrash metal. We like to have fun, and you know, we just write songs that are designed to be enjoyed and not thought about too deeply, you know, at least musically. And people seem to have finally caught on to that. And even the reviews I've read that are bad, I'm like, well, hey, at least I see what this guy's saying. Like, right on, cool. I can totally live with that. So it's good, you know.
Necrocracy actually hit, I think, 15 on the Heat Seeker Top 25.
I don't know, was that some kind of chart thing?
Yeah, I mean, is it something like that surprise you, or is it, I mean, did you expect the album to do well? I mean, bands like you generally don't hit.
Honestly, you probably know more about it than I do. Like, our record label was happy with the first shit out. That's fine. Because to me, honestly, I don't really think about sales or numbers, and that's shit you put like on your resume. If I was building a resume, I'd be working at a corporate job making like actual money, you know what I mean? So we just don't think of those kind of things. And really the only thing that helps us is that we can go out and play more shows and make more money playing shows, because record sales don't mean anything to us at all. Especially in this day and age where they've dwindled so far that the chance of, you know, we have a really old record contract from the late 90s basically. So the chances of us seeing royalties ever are essentially none. So I just don't really give a shit about that stuff.
You gotta go.
And plus, I think once you start concentrating on it, you kind of like, it's a slippery slope of starting to think about the wrong things and think about your band in terms of like success or whatever the fuck. We just think about it in terms of like, hey, do we think these are good songs?
Yeah.
Yes, then go for it. That's it. But that's cool. That's good news, right on. I had no idea. I'll tell my mom.
Like, I've talked to bands before, and it really, sadly, it doesn't even take that much to hit billboards now.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like, you know, hitting the billboard now is sort of like being like the world's tallest midget. It's like, well, for a midget, you're really fucking tall, but like you're still just a midget, you know what I mean? So
some of these bands are only selling 1,000 copies.
So hey, that's exactly why I don't care about this.
Anyways, like what are the lyrical things for Necrocracy? Because I know you guys keep to the gore element of the band, but I know there's some inner like lyrical things to it.
Yeah, I mean this record, like yeah, we still use all the gore and horror stuff as basis for the lyrics, but this time it's much more of like a metaphor. And there's a lot of stuff, obviously by the title, that's much more political. Like the third record we did, Anatomy is Destiny, same kind of thing, but it was more about sort of like an existentialist like worldview or whatever. And then the other records are just sort of whatever. Some songs kind of have double meanings, some don't or whatever. This one though is much more politically focused. I mean, the thing is, like, whether you're like right winger or left winger, I mean, everybody looks at the system that we have and they know that it's broken and it's not working, and it's, you know, just kind of focusing on that. And I think that, you know, like any kind of like cancerous thing, it just needs to be removed, and then you can maybe set up something better. But I mean, it's going to go bad eventually, but at least you can enjoy a little while before it just gets completely like rotten to the core, and that's where it is right now. So, you know, without getting too deep or whatever, there's just a lot of stuff about politics and socioeconomic stuff, and there's like 2 or 3 songs that are just about dead bodies and shit. So yeah, I mean, yeah, and the thing is that I like to keep it within the sort of gore thing, because then if somebody doesn't care about politics or they don't really care, they don't have to get hit over the head like racism is bad, like I'm gonna tell you how to live your life. Like fuck, you know, we're just dudes in a band that drink a lot of beer. Like we don't have all the answers. We're just, hey, this is some observations we have, but let's just do it in a way that's still fun, basically.
Yeah. Alright, so for you personally, what's the best concert you've ever attended that you did not play?
I think the best, well, my favorite show I've ever seen was at Milwaukee Metal Fest in 1997, Venom, with the original lineup, and they just played like the 7 Days of Hell tour set. They had fucking fireworks and flames and sparks, and it was the best thing ever. Like that, and like the first time I saw Manowar was like probably my second favorite. Like the next day, my arms from doing this, like I literally was like reaching it like to get a cup. I was like, ow, god damn! I was like, I worked out for like 2 hours, and I couldn't talk. My voice was just completely hoarse. So those are.
What are some of your favorite music releases from this year besides one?
These are the kind of questions I suck at. Because, well, I just, most of the stuff that I listen to is like much older, you know what I mean? And like if I have my iTunes and I could look at like what's from this year, I could be like, oh yeah, that was a good record. Like I like that. Like I really like that Hooded Menace record. I don't know if that's from this year or last year. I thought that was really good though. I think the Enforcer record came out last year. That was awesome. What I heard of the new In Solitude album sounds really good. I mean, you know, I do like newer bands. I just spend most of my time listening.
The new Suffocation was really good.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, that was awesome. We got to hear that every night for a fucking month. It was cool.
How was that for you?
It was killer, man. It was really fun. I mean, it's really funny because when I was a kid, like back in high school, we were like the local openers for Suffocation, like way back in the day, and then I think we did the same thing again. We did like Pierce from the Dome tour or whatever. So finally, we've actually done a regular tour with them. But yeah, it was super fun, really cool guys, just like a cool vibe. You know?
I actually wanted to talk to you or ask you about the Death to Wall tour last year because
sure.
You were kind of thrown in at the last second.
Yeah.
Originally, Stefan from Obscure was supposed to do it, but like, how was the personal experience for you?
It was amazing. The first, like, we had like, I think 5 days of rehearsal, and the 5 days of rehearsal and the first show, until about halfway through the first show, that was like pretty nerve-wracking, to be honest. Because I mean, you know, when I was a kid, I was growing up learning like all the riffs on like Scream Bloody Gore and Leprosy and stuff, and you know, I always kept track of the band or whatever, but I just hadn't spent that much time with the later records, and they're obviously a bit more technical. So, you know, if somebody said, hey, we need you to come out and play like, you know, Forgotten Past and like Denial of Life like tomorrow, I'd be like, oh yeah, no problem, cool. Just let me brush up on that one riff and I'm fine. But like, it's like, hey, Crystal Mountain, I'm like, fuck, I don't know the first thing about how to play this song. And obviously, like when you're stepping into somebody's shoes like that, it's hugely intimidating. I mean, you know, it wouldn't matter if I was like taller, better looking, or like had a cooler car and a hotter girlfriend than Chuck. It's like nobody wants to see anybody but Chuck up there, including me, you know. And it was a real different vibe because usually, you know, our shows are just all about like fucking shit up and getting trashed and knocking shit over and stuff. And at those shows, it was like a real like respectful kind of vibe. And it was something really neat to be a part of. I've been a Death band since I was like 13. And just to get to play with guys like Steve and Gene, I mean, those guys are like my heroes again from my junior high, you know, back in the fucking late 80s. So just to look over, you're playing the riff, you look over and there's Gene Hogan.
Charles did a great job too.
Oh, Charles killed it. I mean, I think guitar-wise, he just nailed it. I mean, the only thing, my voice is just closer in range to Chuck's, which honestly was how, when I met Death's manager the second time I hung out with him, and I'd heard about it happening, I just said, hey, if you need a vocalist, I didn't want to follow the Death All thing was sort of brewing. I just said, hey, if you guys can't find like a suitable vocalist, you know, my voice is kind of in the same range as Chuck's, and I didn't want to fuck with the guitar. I figured they've got, you know, between fucking Shannon and Bobby and Paul and James Murphy and Rick Ross or whatever, but they got a slew of guitar players, so they'll probably only need a vocalist. I wouldn't want to like have to go in there and play Chuck's stuff anyway, which I ended up having to do. But the people were really supportive, and that was the biggest thing to me. Was like, as long as the kids liked it, you know, and I think they knew that I was coming from the same perspective that they were, which was just like, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy this is happening, and you know, I think it was something really special. You know, I was pretty stoked, pretty proud to like be a part of that. You know?
I mean, for people my age, like obviously we weren't around to be able to actually see Death, so you know, starting to discover these albums, thinking that I'll never hear this live.
Right, it's a pretty shitty thought.
And Individual Thought Patterns is like my all-time favorite album.
Oh, cool, man.
It was an awesome show. You and Charles and everybody did a great job.
Cool, man. I mean, that's, you know, the best. And like Chuck's sister, like, complimented me, and his cousin. I was just like, wow.
His nephew was this too.
And that's right, his nephew, not his cousin. That's right. But yeah, I was just like, damn, this is pretty humble, like, pretty crazy. So I was, you know, I just felt really lucky. It just, you know, my philosophy is always like, there's nothing wrong with like being the second choice or the understudy or whatever. Like, you know, get a chance, like no matter how it comes about, just fucking go for it.
All right. After this touring, what's next for Exhumed?
We have a small run of dates in December. We're doing the West Coast stuff with Iron Reagan, which is Tony and Phil from Waste's hardcore band. And then we may extend it another week and actually come back out to Florida. I'm not sure yet. That's kind of in the works. We got some stuff coming out early next year, but none of it's solid enough to where I can say, like, yeah, we're doing this. Because if we are doing it, then they'll be like, why the fuck did you tell people so early? You blew it. And then if we don't do it, then I look like an even bigger dick. So I'm trying to, you know, I'm not trying to be like all secretive. It's just like still coming together. But yeah, we have a few different things coming up next year, and we want to get out and promote the new record as much as possible. And most of us, this is our primary living, so we like to play. You know, we like to fucking play.
All right, well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Fuck yeah, man. Thanks.
Great.
Cheers.
Nice Brandon from Rise Above.